Hello, everybody. Happy Friday and all the rest. Joined today by Ali and Mickey. So, Mickey, how is it going on this fine day?
Good. I'm actually looking forward to the weekend. It's been raining outside for a bit. I was planning to go out for a walk, but if it's raining, I don't think I should go.
The weather has bounced back a little bit. I guess, Ali, it's a little bit like my computer. It has bounced back a little bit, hence why the weird camera view today. Yes, I'm over here and I'm
Yes.
looking up here. Uh, I got to the bottom of the issue. Well, I think I've got to the bottom of the gremlins. A very, very simple one. It was a peripheral, a little USB adapter, and I was saying to you, you had the same issues now and again.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know what it is. It's like the adapter. I know that Esso has or also known as sound off between us. It's his headphones and Circle. I've had issues with the hub and my entire computer. It seems like you've had that as well. I think, once we're plugged in and everything works, I think the key is just not to touch anything until the laptop eventually dies. That's probably the best route of action, I think.
Yeah, it just blows up like a gremlin going
Yeah.
into the water. Yeah, I think I'm going to replace that adapter because I've had it out for about 2 hours now, and everything, fingers crossed, is working according to plan. But of course, my camera is actually up there, and my microphone is now not plugged in. So we'll definitely get to the bottom of it. Yesterday, obviously, it really struck. The gremlin struck within about 5 minutes of going. So some of the bits that I was going to talk about yesterday, we'll obviously talk about today. But I think as well for anybody who has any discussions or any topics that they want to discuss, please do go into the chat box. There seems to be a little bit of chat box fear of questions or discussion topics or anything like that. That's kind of the reason why a lot of the streams are done and a lot of this type of stream are done. It's not to bring more content because also we do hear from people, I'm overwhelmed, I'm behind, I'm trying to catch up. So these streams are absolutely brilliant for catching up rather than bringing anything new to the party all of the time. Of course, I will completely contradict myself today and say that I have some new pieces. But I wanted to start off with something that I didn't get to yesterday, or I kind of started into yesterday and then wasn't able to get to because of the gremlins. But this idea, which really kind of brings both you, Mickey, and Ali into the equation here. Now, myself and Mickey, you were talking, or we were talking about replenishments and how replenishments are done, and more so the mechanics of them, as in how are they done, not so much the when are they done and the planning sort of element of it, because I feel like, and even you were saying on that call whenever Ali was sort of doing it, not to call him out here and dig him out, but he was doing it very ad hoc, or it was every day, and having to go down through, check in absolutely every single SKU. Which, whenever you guys started off doing one SKU, that's absolutely fine, and you kind of feel like you have to. But whenever you get to the level of SKUs that you guys have, how the hell would you do it every single day? It'd be very, very inefficient, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't want to go into the details of when to replenish because that is not my lane. I'm trying to stay on my lane, and that's more like how. The how part is mine, and the when is yours. So I'm staying with my how. But yeah, that's right. Whenever we started, we had I think three, four SKUs. That was easy to manage, and um, it was managed so only by Ali. And yeah, the excitement at the beginning, whenever you launch a product, is like, yes, I'm gonna go in every day and I'm gonna replenish every single day, but it's not the right thing to do.
Yes, absolutely. And also too, in terms of, let me just see, somebody saying we need access. This was yesterday. I set this up. It's restricted. Let me see around there. I can't actually see my screen because my camera is in front of it. There we go. I'll do that. That should be good now. And also, is that thing of, I know that Ricardo's talking there about replenishments and the inward cost going up or changing, sometimes going up, sometimes going down. And I guess, Ali, thankfully, the quicker people catch on to this inefficiency, I guess you would say, as well as like a volatile inefficiency, which those two words together don't sound very good if you've got a volatile inefficiency. But there's a way around that, isn't there?
In terms of the reorders
Inward.
or the inwards, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, it just, you're looking at your PCS and you're seeing, you know, your inward costs kind of having that kind of volatile ups and downs, because it would depend on how many units you're sending in, how many SKUs you're sending in. And then, you know, if you only require to send in a couple of boxes, you're going to be at your most inefficient side as well. But obviously, whenever you're replenishing directly from All1, that volatility is just not needed. In fact, you can even skip over that completely because there is no inward cost. It's just shipping direct.
Yeah, I'm sure it was quite a nice thing for you to be able to go into your PCS, into that column of Edward, and just go 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And so that's a pretty nice day.
Well, I'll share how I did it. So I highlighted the whole kind of block of cells with all of the inward orders or inward fees, and then went over to or scrolled across to the profit and the percentages, hitting delete and just watching everything move, and then pressing Command Z to bring it back up, and just I had to kind of look at it side by side just to see what kind of it was completely unnecessary. But
I would disagree. I would say it's completely necessary just to be sitting there with undo, redo, redo. You know, it's I could do that for hours upon end, just seeing those different things, which is absolutely brilliant. And here you need the wins. You know, that's a win that you can take with you for a considerable period of time. You know, that you should constantly be revisiting that and seeing it's like, this is the win that I have over the vast majority of sellers, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that comes in other forms as well. You know, we're looking at placing reorders for some of our SKUs that are, you know, that need that replenishment within the next couple of months. And the fact that we're looking at, you know, stock globally and run rates globally as opposed to per country, it's freeing. And I know that we use the word free a lot, certainly connected to All1, but it's very freeing, and having that simplicity of, you know, rather than just needing to send all of my order to the US, for example, I can look at run rates for all of the countries that we sell in and see it as almost like one storefront. You know, although we have customers all around the world, it's now becoming more of a platform where we have one storefront, you know, open to the world.
And Tracy just asked something there, is like, what kind of volume do we need to send into Amazon to remain efficient? And I would sort of break that up a little bit in terms of, there's ways, which Ali is talking about, to be efficient without having to do volume. Because what you can end up with is you can end up with trying to be efficient and being inefficient, in that you're trying to aim for one thing and cause and effect, you're causing something else. So the higher the volume that you would be sending in to Amazon from a third-party warehouse, the more efficient that is going to be. But if you were sending in 2 years worth of stock to be efficient, then on the inward, it wouldn't be efficient. So it's a bit of a catch-22. Whereas what Ali's talking about there is there's no catch. There's no catch-22 at all, and it's forever, right? It's a longer-term approach. So for me, it's like take the short-term pain for the long-term gain. I know that's always a concept that we don't like, but whenever we're able to do what Ali was doing of the undo, redo, that's really where we've got to get to. And of course, you can speed that process up once you get to a certain stage, and presenting where you are to us, or somebody there like Ali or Esso may be able to help with that. And Angelica says, I'm about to do a reorder, and can I still submit the form? Yes, absolutely. You just submit in the form to do the reorder. Mickey, can we maybe just grab that?
The reorder form, yes,
yes,
sure.
Please. We'll just pop it inside the box. So in terms of storage cost inside Opus, obviously this, as I've said a number of times before, this has been superseded, okay? Because your storage cost is really only going to be the Amazon storage cost. So that's been superseded, and it will be inside a new formula, inside an updated Opus report, okay? Which I guess kind of brings me to my first point here, which is, if I can go over to this area, I'll come back to the refill velocity, because this is a very good segue point. So let me just grab this. So this is what I was talking about the other day. Report upgrade priority request. So this is just a very, very simple form, okay? Asking for your name, best email, the reference number, as in your reference number, those first 2 letters and 3 digits that you would know, okay? And then, do you want to be prioritized for a report upgrade? That is what it is. That's all it is on it. As I was talking about at the start of the week, or maybe the end of last week, we could turn around and we could start doing all of these report upgrades for absolutely everybody that we have files for. However, there are some people who have not filled out their PCS as yet. There are some people that have not done scuds. There's some people that are not uploading drop files. So from my perspective, it would be unfair, I think is the word. I don't really get into unfairness very often, but I think it would be unfair for us to put in the resource of time to complete all of these report upgrades for absolutely every single person, when a lot of these people are not using the reports, or they're not filling out the reports. So we're going to move now to a priority. So if you're on the streams or you're inside Circle, you're seeing the posts, you can request your upgrades. Because if we start doing it as well, and we just go down from A to Z, right? Well, your name might be Zebedee, but you might be keeping up to date with all of your reports and filling out. You would be last, right? And that's not fair on you, just because your name starts with a Z, okay? Whereas there might be somebody whose name starts with an A, who is just doing absolutely nothing here. They're not filling out any reports or doing any engine files, and the resource that we would use would go into their reports first. So we're going to do the upgrades based on priority. Whenever people fill out this form, I will get a timestamp, okay? And we will go and we will do that first person first. I feel that is a fair way of doing it, and it also prioritizes the people who are doing the reports. Okay, a very, very simple little thing at the bottom, which I'm sure a lot of people just glance by whenever you're clicking it, but it actually is important, right? Because it's sort of like a little bit of a contract between us, right? It's like by clicking and submitting this priority, you're agreeing to use the reports that we generate, learning more about the reports, and creating the actions based on the data inside them. Now, you could click yes to that and do absolutely you know what, right? F all, fill in the blank. But it's just a little bit of a contract. And I think, Mickey, it's almost like accountability in that aspect, that you're sort of saying yes to it. So therefore, whenever we bring it to people's attention, we can jab them a little bit. Hey, you said you were going to do this, eh?
Yeah, for sure. I think the accountability series actually helped with not only us all being accountable for our actions, but also with structure and order, because you know that there is something there that needs to be done, that is on the back of your mind as a reminder. So whenever you're going to fill up this form, you're going to think, yeah, I want those reports and I want to I want them upgraded. But we see on a regular basis for the last 2 or 3 months the exact same people on the stream over and over again, and they are here and they are committed and they are accountable. And then we also have about 70%, I would say, that either listen to us at a later date or listen to our streams at a later date. But we also have quite a large portion that there is a lot of resource going into, I didn't know about it, I never heard about it. So is that thing that I'm spending a lot of time, or Noel is spending a lot of time with educating on something that we have already covered. And I feel like I'm not telling anybody off, by the way. It's just so we all on the same page. Whenever I spend time on educating somebody that doesn't come to the streams, is unfair on the people that come to the stream, because they might be waiting for me on a reply about their product, or they might be waiting for Ali on the reorder, and so on. So with this form, I think we're gonna make some progress.
Well, Mickey, you might not be telling anybody off, but Ali, hold my coffee here a second. My time to shine is right here, right now.
Wait till I open this one.
Yeah, it's the big thing is this. It's like we've got to be very, very just thoughtful around, and it is self-preservation in a way, right? In that if we've produced something which is 1 hour long, if we've got to then take that 1 hour long and present it to 100 people, one-on-one, the exact same thing, that's 100 hours that we've got to spend, okay? Whereas if we record something, we put it out there, it's 1 hour. Now we have got a lot more resource to work on things on everybody's business, right? So therefore, if you're kind of sucking the resource, you're sucking it away from yourself as well, right? Because you can spend the time going down through all of the material that is there, learn it, rather than just getting those fish nuggets that I've been talking about. Because whenever you kind of do it, it's just tick box exercise. There's no learning curve. Nothing will stick. Whereas having the ability to go back down through something, pause it if you're going to go and get a cup of tea, you're really going to take that in and then implement it, and then it becomes practice makes permanent. So definitely what I've got in here for the report upgrades is I've got Deirdre, I've got Colin, I've got Ricardo, I've got Sue, I've got Tracy, I've got Lucy, right? So guys, you're going to be prioritized first. Myself and Noel will be working on these come Monday morning, okay? Now, on top of what we've already kind of covered in terms of the reporting updates, I've got a couple of other updates. Guys, inside the chat box, let me know with a 1 if you saw Noel's video from yesterday, where he was talking about the stock asset file and what you can do to sort of bring it up with the different, I guess they're called, how many is here? Share up here. I'll be able to speak from knowledge. There's different locations, okay? So you had in production, 3PL, Amazon FC, you had at sea, and you also had an A1 facility, right? So from everybody that said 1, did you do it? Did you go and put it into action? Give me a 2 if you did put it into action, or give me a 3 if you still did do it. And if you're doing a 3, that means that you're going to be doing it over the weekend, all right? So Colin did it, Ricardo did it, Sue did it, a couple more people maybe still to do it. So Lucy's doing it over the weekend, Tracy's doing it over the weekend, Katie's doing it over the weekend. Great. Because once you get this done, it's allowing the ability then for you to start changing this, because if you are using it all in one facility, you did need to have that availability inside here to be able to choose here, which would then be able to choose here, CH, for China. Okay, so inside the stock assets file, this comes directly off your PCS, Angelica, right? So therefore, anything that's inside your PCS will be in here, right? It's directly linked. Okay, so whenever you come in here, so I'll take a look, but I'm presuming you've got your PCS filled out, but I'll be able to take a look at your report. Now, the other thing off this, great job, Tracy. Tonight, I like that. That's even better than the weekend. Another thing that we've been looking at, myself, Ali, Nikki, Noel, basically all the entire team, is a report that we've been really digging into is vitals. Okay, now let me actually, I want to move this because my screen is in the road, or my computer's in the road. So is that still there? Yeah, still there. You can see that, Ali, can you? Yeah.
Yep.
Great stuff. So let me change this. Go across to here. Okay, so what we have is this vitals report. This is going to be one of those ones that comes through on this upgrade for you. All right. And because you're filling out your stock assets, because you got your PCS, because you guys are doing what you're doing here, this vitals report is going to pay you back dividends, right? You're doing what I would call the easy lifting or the light lifting. The reports start doing the heavy lifting for you. Okay, you get rewarded for doing it. Right? If you're not doing your PCS, you're not doing your drop files, you're not doing your stock assets files, right? This fantastic report will be useless. It will give you no information, and you will have to go and do all the heavy lifting yourself. And what the heavy lifting will involve will be running out of stock, right? Giving yourself opportunity cost and max pain, right? If you love max pain, don't do any reports. Sit on your hands, don't do anything. I promise you max pain will come, right? If you don't like max pain, do your reports, get these things, get these upgrades, and then be able to see it. So I've got a lot of dummy data here for you, be able to go down through. So the first sort of sub-report that you're going to get off the vitals is reordering. Now we know, very, very important. Right? And what we've got is, we've got all of your SKUs from the PCS. All right? Then you will have a global stock level. Okay. Now, obviously, global stock level comes from your stock asset file. Okay. Then what you would put into here, because not everything is created equal, all right? But in this instance, I've put them in just to get the data. Myself and Nikki talked about this idea of lead time. Okay, so how long does it take in terms for you to decide to place an order, okay? Not the production starting, for you to decide to place an order, because, you know, whenever you decide to place an order, sometimes we muck about a little bit. We don't get our payments done for a couple of days. You know, we know, right? So not whenever production starts, right the whole way through to landing in an Amazon fulfillment center. Okay. Now, we suggest that if your production time is about 30 days, this would likely be about 8. Okay, most of the time would be about 8. And it can fluctuate, it can change. And then we have buffer. Okay, so buffer allows for delays as well as a little bit of overstock in case your product is growing. All right, now if you've got something which is really set in, really bedded in, I'm sure Ali, you and Mickey have got a number of products which are, you know, so old they're haunted, right? And there's probably not an awful lot of growth left in them. And it's great, right, that they've got to that stage where they are, you know, they're sort of, I would say stagnant, but in a good way. You know, they're maybe doing 100 sales a month, but that's not going to change to 200. It's kind of where it is. So you may change your buffer a little bit to maybe say 2. Allow for a little bit of delay, a little bit of this. Maybe it's 2 terms, like a month. I'm sure you'd agree you probably have some of those items.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, some of the older ones, especially, that have kind of hit a plateau. You know, it was those first few kind of reorders where we were like underdoing it and then overdoing it, and then eventually, once we kind of got that recipe right, it was able to be in stock for long enough where it was almost predictable what kind of sales velocity we were looking at. You know,
I also know you've got a couple of items that would probably need a buffer of about 8 turns, because the growth is pretty high. It's a big spike. So, you know, that's not going to change your lead time, right? The fact that you've got good sales on an item doesn't change your lead time. Your lead time is set by the production and how long it takes to get it to an Amazon fulfillment center. But the buffer kind of comes in to help with either something that's a little bit old, stagnant, or something that's a little bit newer or has hit a bit of a spike, and you want to just make sure you don't have the opportunity cost. So that's those 2. Then we have a global run rate. All right, so these areas here are going to be color coded, so you would enter this. Okay, you would enter it once. The global run rate is calculated from your OPIS. Okay, now this is the overall global run rate of all time. Right? Now there is another run rate, and the truth probably lies somewhere in between. But this gives us a very clear indication of an early indicator as to when items should be ordered. And wouldn't you know, boom, right there, today, right? Actually, today. So this is saying that there's an order needed for a product today, and it starts to alert. Right? So coming back into this area in terms of your reporting, this is going to continually fluctuate as the global run rate changes, but being able to check in and see, as well as providing you with a reorder quantity. Okay, guys, let me know inside the chat box. Do you like this? Does this look good? Does this look useful? Is this something that you're going to check into and tend to, you know, plant the flowers in the garden, do the weeding, bring the lawnmower out, trim it every now and again? Let me know. It looks good. It looks good. Now, then what we have is we have a secondary one. Now, I've got pretty much the same data in here just for now. But this is the prevailing average global run rate. So recently we talked about, say, for example, a product which is older, it's been in stock a lot longer. You may not want to take 18 months of an average and call that your global run rate. It may not be your global run rate now, okay? It may be more that the last 3 to 4 months have been more buoyant. That's what would go in here, okay? Now this, you would calculate, because we don't know that information. It's kind of difficult to get formalized or formulaic. So therefore you would enter this, and then it would start to tell you things. So if you put in a global run rate on this product of, say, I don't know, 65, these things are going to change around for you, okay? You can see that you should have ordered it 31st of January, and you should have ordered 780. Okay, so this gives you a lot of information. I'm just going to undo that. I'm going to channel my inner Ali there and undo. See my wins. Now, another thing, it's actually in terms of myself and Ali have been working on, is this idea of leaders, okay? And it really turns round into what is mandatory that you reorder, right? Because, you know, whether we like it or not, we all have favorite children. The same thing applies inside your business, okay? And it's not even so much favorite children, it's, you know, what child does more for you? You know, like if you've got a kid who like does the dishes, cleans up after themselves, that doesn't eat you out of home, doesn't ask you for very much, you know, you're going to like that kid more than the one that does nothing, right? Let's just be honest, okay? The same thing goes inside the business, right? We have a priority, okay? And the priority really comes down to the big P word, right? Profitability, right? Which product is bringing you in the most amount of profit? Like, if you've got a product that's bringing you in the most amount of product on a league score basis or a leaderboard business, he or she, depending on what gender the product is, and it's 2024, so let's be honest, your product could be any gender that it chooses, right? So it could be a he or she, but you've got to then prioritize that product because it is feeding the business with more, right? It's feeding the business with the magic P word, which is profitability. So bringing in the information that you already know, okay? So what currency do you want this report in? If you like to operate in GBP, select GBP. If you prefer USD, or if you're in Eurozone or Canadian land, you can select whatever currency that you've been going down through the reports. And I would keep this primary currency fairly robust across all of your reports. Now, you will then see all of your SKUs that you have inside the business, and you will see this global run rate per term. Okay, so we're operating back off this, what I was talking about, this global run rate, okay, that your Opus is going to give you. Okay, so it might not be as accurate as the prevailing average, but we'll get to that in a little second. But this is automated. Now, the only other thing that you've got to do is, what is your primary market? Okay, as in, what's your best market for this product? Because we want to be able to see that. Okay, so in instance, this product here inside this account, its primary market is the United Kingdom. Okay, it sells more in the United Kingdom than it does in America. But this product here sells more in America than it does in the UK. So you would just select these. Okay, so just go in, select whichever country is your primary country, the whole way down your list of SKUs. You only have to do it once, and you can change it around. Okay, once that's done, you get a beautiful leaderboard right over here. Okay, and it categorizes the products for you based on what league table you want. Okay, now the most important league table is obviously profit. Okay, profit is the sanity metric of the business. Okay, but there is another sanity metric of the business, and that's RVF. Okay, because in terms of cash flow, what's the leader that's bringing me in the most cash flow? Okay, so cash flow and profit, completely different things. Okay, completely different things. And then also, what about revenue? So revenue is a bit of a vanity stat. Profit is a sanity stat. RVF kind of lies in the middle. Okay, guys. Any questions you've got about this? Just let me know inside the chat box, and we'll certainly get to it. You could connect in Amazon's API, but don't forget, Amazon doesn't know your costs, right? Amazon doesn't know your costs of your goods. That's like a base level. That's really like a base level. And I think I've got a little bit of instability. Ali, can you still hear me, dude?
Yep, I thought that was just me because I had a little pop-up saying connection unstable, but it looks to be
Yeah,
a
I think we're using a good amount of bandwidth. Maybe it's me shouting at roar at the screen. Who knows? But if you change this around to revenue, everything will then change for you. But also, you can start to see this percentage. Okay, now you don't want to be dependent on a product, right? So you want to have it so that your percentages are well split. I'm not saying that you would get rid of a product that is giving you a lot of profit, but you'd want to bring in more products and start to bring that percentage down while still maintaining the profit level. Okay. Now, exactly the same thing then, once you add in your prevailing average, okay, it has a different set, all right? And it still has exactly these same leaderboards, all right? So that's going to be running off the prevailing average. And then there's a whole pile of other vital reports that you can come into. You can even see the overall sessions that are coming down from a product, just for a nice glance of vitals. And you can also see how this is prevailing, okay? So, you can see that products in terms of their sessions are actually slightly starting to retard, they're coming back down, or you might see ones that are exploding, ones that are staying pretty static, ones that are starting to go up. I've got a nice trend line there, another one there with a nice trend line, a little bit more static, etc., etc. So you're going to be able to dig around and see all these different things. So a lot of different scope here, Ali and Mickey, for everybody to dig into, and again, prioritized by those people who are wanting to take advantage of it.
Yeah, 100%. I used it a bit, and I loved it. One of our SKU. That's when we discovered that one of our SKU, we were meant to place a reorder. What was it? 6 months ago. Yeah, so it will be really useful for all of you to play around with, and also it gives you the financial planning as well. Because if you think about it, if you know that a reorder is due in 2 months' time or 3 months' time, you're gonna make sure that you have the cash flow for it.
Absolutely, and this actually starts to help with cash flow as
Yeah.
well, because we can take this on to another area of cash flow, which would then bring us into liquidity, which is kind of like the end of the circle of reporting. Because if we know our run rates, all right, and myself and Ali are obviously working on this too. If we know our run rates and we know that we are in stock, we can predict what's going to happen. We can literally predict the future. And if we know what comes back from an RVF perspective, we can predict with a fair degree of accuracy what our disbursement is going to be in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 12 weeks, 26 weeks, right? We can start to project out. Like, whenever you know that, and you know what you need to reorder, and you know the costings of those reorders, put those two things together, a thing of beauty starts to envelop. And you can then start to see where things are growing maybe a little bit too quickly. And then the emotional side comes out of it. And I know that we've been having conversations over the last number of months where the line has been that needs reordered. And it's a case of, I don't care if you rob a bank, that needs reordered. It's really just that simple, because if it's not reordered, you're impacting your future revenue, right? You're impacting your future profit. You're impacting the future of the business. And this goes the whole group wide here. I know that there are some people that are not doing reorders that need to be doing reorders, and this will help, okay? And I'm not saying that people are not doing reorders for the sake of not doing reorders, but I think there's an element that, A, they maybe don't know that they need to do a reorder, or they're saying, I'll hang on for a little while because I need to find cash. And those two things are not connected, right? Cash flow and reordering actually are not. They're not connected, because if you don't do the reordering, you're having an impact on your future cash. Right? So that's very, very important as well, guys. So as Ricardo says, when is Vitals live? That's going to be one of the reports that we start to put into your folders starting next week, which is great. You guys are getting a leg up here straight away because you filled out the form. You've asked for the upgrade, the early upgrade. We're going to prioritize that and get that done. The other thing I want you to look at, because we are going to be moving into it, is that refill velocity guide. If you do have any questions on it, do just let us know inside Circle. A very, very simple idea that we want to start having a look at. So that's all I've got. I just took 45 minutes of the call, Mickey. So I don't know whether you've got anything else that you want to cover, but you can have the last 5 minutes if you want. I think that's pretty much split down the middle, 45 versus 5.
I actually do have something. I know those 3 or 4 people that I'm still waiting for their replies are not on the stream. But if you are listening to the stream and you received an email from me this morning asking you to do something, please do it, because we cannot transfer the products to your account until you confirm what I have told you on the email. And I will be very discreet and just leave it there. But if you do want your products that arrived in the US to be transferred to your account in order for you to replenish, you will need to do your part on that.
Yeah, I think we should start collecting people's phone numbers and just start ringing people, because there's definitely that thing of we're not checking in. Sometimes we're not checking on our emails, we're not checking on our messages, and then all of a sudden an emergency will then become an urgency whenever it never needed to get to that stage. So for sure. Ali, do you have anything else that you wanted to add before we leave it for the weekend, sir?
Yeah, something that just kind of came apparent as you were talking there, Robert, just looking at, what we're able to see in terms of visibility on the business. We've seen it in the past where people just didn't put any effort or any care into the back end of their Seller Central, which resulted in a downward trend in sessions, a downward trend in USP, ultimately a downward trend in revenue. But I really see, this side of things as being the back end of your business. And if you really put in the work, then you can plan, and the future of your business is predictable. Whereas if you don't take the care and you don't put in the work or don't keep it up to date, you're not really taking your business too seriously. So it's interesting to see kind of the back ends of both the Amazon Seller Central, but also the back end of your business and staying on top of that. That's all I have.
I think Robert, you muted.
That's the way everybody normally likes me, Mickey. It's muted. Just doesn't happen very often.
It's not everyone. I think it's just one single person, and she lives with you.
Yeah, well, I'm normally muted because I can't get a word in edgeways. That's why I'm so vocal on the streams. But yes, let me just go across. Now, the reason why I wanted to kind of leave on this today is this is going to have people doing a lot of stuff. Sorry, over the weekend. I'm going to share my screen up in a little second. This was the the ASIN Plus trick. Okay. And so let me just toggle up my screen. And we should be into Amazon. Okay. So you have your ASIN, right, for your product. Okay. And you likely have a number of phrases that you kind of hope that you are indexed for by Amazon. Okay, this can be a brand new product. This can be an so old it's haunted product, or anything in between. Okay, now the likelihood of an old haunted product being indexed for all of your generic key phrases and expressions that you want it to be indexed for is a hell of a lot higher than something that has been launched one day. Okay, so I would also urge with a little bit of caution here. If something is really brand new, let's use a bit of logic and say, why? How would Amazon have indexed my product for all of these different search terms? Okay, so what you do is you go to the Amazon where you want to look. So, for example, I'm going to use the United States here. Okay, for a product from my demo data that is actually live, okay? And you will then use your ASIN, okay, for the product that you want to search for, all right? Then we type in the expression or the phrase that we want to see if we're indexed for. So the most generic phrase for this product is a speaker mount, okay, or speaker mounts, right? And you hit return. And then we should be able to find the product, okay? Because if the product is not here, that means that it's not indexed, okay? And you should then move on, all right, and see which ones are you indexed for, okay? Which ones are you indexed for? Because if it's not indexed, then you could be leaving a lot of money on the table here, okay? So I want to make sure this product is actually in stock here because I know this is indexed, so it may be that it's out of stock. But Ali, have you got an ASIN that you could provide me with relatively quickly?
Let me have a quick look. You're in .com?
Yep. Just while we're looking there, guys, who's going to go and do this week, right? And make a list of what they are indexed for.
All right, I've got one here, Robert.
Cool. Where can you send something on Google Chat?
Yep.
Bingo. Got it. And what would be your most generic phrase, Ali? One that you sort of think you
A seed storage box or a seed storage organizer. Probably box, a little bit higher up than organizer. So it's the pink one there, just in the middle.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it is indexed for that. Okay. Now you can't really look at sponsored. Okay. You can't really look at sponsored. You've got to be unsponsored. Okay. So therefore, Ali does not need to worry about this phrase. Okay. Now he said organizer. Okay. Say storage organizer, and you want to go from top to bottom. Okay. The most important at the top. Okay, so let's say Ali's phrase was seed storage box is his most important. You want to do that first. Okay, organizer. Let's pretend that was Ali's second one. Boom, right there. Okay, right there. Then if he seed packet container. I'm just making stuff up here now, by the way. But seed packet container. Now, he had a list of all of those things that he wants to do. There we go, right there. It's indexed. Okay, it's indexed. So ideally would like to also you want to find something that you're not indexed for, okay? So what can we find that we're not indexed for? Because we want to see, is that important, all right? So what we want to get is, we want to get a big list of reds and greens. Greens were indexed. We're not indexed on the reds. And yes, the plus is optional. I put the plus in because I was actually talking out loud. Ace and plus trick, right? So I put the plus in to start with. You don't actually need it because it's this plus this. All right, guys, inside the chat box, right? Who's ever seen this done before? Who's ever talked about this to you before? Who's ever given you some really cool homework like this before? Keeps you busy, but also there's a real win to it, okay? So you can let me know inside the chat box as to who, right, has ever done anything like this before. Sue says, I have not seen it before. You're welcome. You're welcome. Wendy's just asked, everybody else must have seen it before. I've been doing that for years. Right? Everybody told me that. The gurus told me. Wendy says, where do the indexing phrases come from? Title, back end, phrases, etc. So this is a check, right? So yes, it is a check. But where do they come from? This would be all of the terms that you would want to be indexed for, right? Some people call it sort of like ranking for, but I call it indexed, right? What do you want Amazon to have an index of your product for? Because if it's not there, then we've got some work to do. Okay, we've got some work to do. Okay, so Angelica, I need an in-depth course video on this. In-depth? I've just showed you in like 2 minutes. That's all you need. You do not need in-depth. We definitely don't. We don't need overwhelm. It's just your SKU, the country, the phrase. Is it or is it not indexed? Okay. So what do we do if we're not indexed for something? No, we don't raise a case, right? We've got to get it indexed, right? So first things first, make a list, okay? Have a plan. So we make a big list of all of the expressions that we want to be indexed for, and then we go and we check it, right? We check to see, are we indexed? We then create reds and greens, all right? Then we want to go and we want to start prioritizing, all right? Maybe if Ali was not indexed for his seed storage box, Ali, was it the sort of the main one you said earlier? Yeah. So if he wasn't indexed for seed storage box and he wasn't indexed for seed packet container, I'd be asking him, well, which one's first? Which one's the more priority? And he would say, oh, seed storage box. That's got a lot more search volume to it. Okay, got a lot more search volume to it. And we're going to be able to do a lot of work for you in the background in terms of search volume, especially those people inside All Inclusive Plus. I know a lot of people there are getting us to do a lot of work for them on their behalf. But then what we can do is we've got to then tackle, well, why are we not indexed, right? If Ali's telling me, right, that seed storage box is his primary expression that he wants to be indexed for, and it's not in his title, I'm going to slap Ali's hands, right? Because how's he going to be indexed for that if it's not inside his title, right? Or those words or those combinations of those words are not inside his title, okay? Now, it may be something further on down the priority where he has seed packet container. That might not be like the number 1, it might be like number 20. So it might not be in his title, but it might be in his back-end keywords, okay? It might be in his bullets if it's really low down the priority list, okay? So we got to start looking at that. And if that then becomes a priority, I say to Ali, I've looked at your back-end keywords. They're not here, man, right? You're not going to index if you haven't told Amazon to index it, okay? And the order of the phrase is important. Yes, absolutely. So what that fit, because we need to make sure that what people are typing in, right? So for example, Ali does not have seed storage container, okay? Not in a row, right? But that's what people are typing in, seed storage container, okay? But he's indexing because he's got them in his title, okay? Seed storage container, okay? He is indexed, all right? So pretty cool. It's not really a trick. I called it a trick to get everybody's attention, but it's not really a trick. It's just being able to utilize Amazon's system to see whether something is indexed and using the ASIN and using the expression. So getting a big long list, greens and reds, and then we will do battle with the greens and reds. So I'm leaving everybody with that. I'm going to shut the hell up. Ali, Mickey, I'll let you see us out to the weekend.
Cool. I should go first then. Thank you guys for joining us today for the stream. I see the exact same names and I love it because that means that you are doing justice to the hard work that you have put onto your business. And on that note, I'm going to pass it on to Ali. Ali, you can take us out. Bye.
It's the end of the week. That's all I have to say. But yeah, really good call, really good insights. I didn't know about the ASIN Plus as well, so it was really cool to see. I always love to geek out on the key terms and the key phrases because anything that has a direct correlation to sessions, we definitely need to have a front row seat on. So yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Have a great weekend, and we shall see you next week.